The scent of fresh-cut pine, thick and sweet on the morning air, hit me first. A good smell, you'd think, but it was all wrong. That sweet pine smell was a death rattle, a ghost of what had been my privacy, my quiet. I stepped out onto the porch, coffee mug still warm in my hand, and my heart just stopped. Right there. Just stopped. Gone. They were all gone. The towering red pines that had stood between my modest A-frame and the new, monstrous McMansion next door, a garish monument of glass and concrete, were just stumps now. What the hell? A hollow emptiness settled in my gut. A sick, churning feeling of violation. I needed the sunlight. A shrill voice cut through the stillness. There she was, the new neighbor I'd barely seen, standing on her pristine lawn, arms crossed over her pristine designer jacket. Your trees were casting a shadow on my sunroom. My jaw hung slack. Did she really just say that? The air, once cool and inviting, now felt suffocating. You cut down my trees? I stammered, the words feeling foreign and clumsy in my mouth. A scoff, a flick of her manicured wrist. They were in the way. Don't worry, I left you plenty of space. She smiled, a little too wide, a little too proud, a flash of teeth that promised condescension. Besides, it's not like they were your trees. They were on the boundary line. My cabin, a project of love and hard work, a place of peace, suddenly felt invaded. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the tremor in my hands. They were on my property. Ma'am, they've been here for 60 years. They were the reason I bought this place. Her smile soured, melting into a scowl that seemed more natural to her face. Look, I already had the arborist take care of it. What's done is done. You can't put them back. Can you? The sheer audacity of it left me speechless. The following weeks were a slow-motion descent into absurdity. She acted as if she'd done me a favor. I tried reasoning, then I tried politely arguing, but she just shut me down, always with a condescending chuckle or a flick of her wrist. You're being hysterical. It's just a few trees. She'd sneer from her deck. It wasn't just a few trees. It was the feeling of being exposed, of losing my sanctuary. I could see her now, her movements, her life, the way she sipped her white wine in the evenings, the way she spoke to her gardener as if he were a piece of furniture. Everything felt raw and ugly. I couldn't shake the memory of the old man I bought the place from, his words echoing in my head. The pines, they're the cabin's best friend. Keeps the creek from getting too rambunctious. I hadn't thought much of it then, chalking it up to old-timer wisdom. Now, I saw the truth in his words. The tree line had always acted as a natural sponge, its roots a complex web holding the soil together, a silent guardian against the small but fierce creek that wound its way down from the hills. It was a secondary, whispered purpose, one she'd never considered. The legal letters began. She'd get them and then come over, a manic look in her eyes. This is insane. Are you really suing me over some stupid trees? You have to be kidding. I was done with talking. The conversation was over. It's not about the trees anymore, I'd say calmly, a steeliness entering my voice that I didn't know I had. It's about property lines. It's about respect. She'd just huff, stomp her foot, and declare she was calling her lawyer. Constant refrain. My own lawyer, a weary but patient man named Frank, had advised me to not engage. Just let the process work, son. The feds will be doing their own assessment on the area next week, as part of a new floodplain initiative. When I mentioned this to her in passing one day, she just laughed. A loud, booming, derisive sound that bounced off the remaining trees. The feds? Oh, honey, do you know who I am? They have much bigger things to worry about than your little saplings. Did she really not get it? The day the white trucks with the official government seals rolled up her driveway, I didn't have to tell her. I saw the look on her face as she hurried out, her phone pressed to her ear, a panicked expression replacing her usual smug confidence. A man in a pressed polo shirt held a clipboard, pointing at the creek, then at her stumps, then at the base of her house. She gesticulated wildly, her voice rising in a desperate, pleading crescendo. "Oh, this is going to be good." The whole afternoon was a spectacle. She screamed. She cried. She threatened. The feds just kept pointing at their maps. She'd removed the natural flood barrier. In doing so, she'd inadvertently exposed her entire multi-million-dollar property to the full, unrestricted power of the next big storm. The creek that used to be a placid trickle was, according to their new classification, a legitimate threat. And with the trees gone, her house was now squarely in a newly declared flood zone. Frank called that evening, a slight chuckle in his voice. They're rescinding her construction permit, and her property value just tanked. No insurance company is going to touch that place now without a 10-foot flood wall and a mortgage payment the size of the national debt. A heavy sigh of pure, unadulterated relief escaped my lungs. The quiet returned, but it was a different kind of quiet now. It was the quiet of victory, of balance being restored. She had thought she was taking something from me, something that was just in her way. But she had no idea that she was toying with forces far greater than herself. The irony of it all. In her arrogant pursuit of a little more sun, she'd let a flood of trouble into her own life, a tidal wave of consequences. And what was done, was done. She couldn't put back the trees. But neither could she escape the truth of what they had been protecting all along. It was a brutal lesson, a bitter end for her, but a powerful reminder to me that nature, in its quiet, persistent way, always finds a way to get the last word. Justice, turns out, doesn't always come in a courtroom. Sometimes, it just waits for a rainy day.